Welcome to episode number 250, where I'm talking to Monica about her self-love journey with Ayurveda. She talks about reframing self-love and self-care, having self-compassion with implementing the changes, and the paradigm shifts she experienced during the Ayurvedic cleansing process. So please stay tuned. Welcome to the Elements of Ayurveda podcast. I'm your host, Colette, and I hope to educate and empower you to take charge of your health and well-being, preventing disease in the body and mind so that you can thrive in life. I will be sharing the holistic teachings of Ayurveda, which is the ancient healing tradition from India. Now, if you're new to Ayurveda, I recommend listening to the first couple of episodes where I do an introduction to Ayurveda and the mind-body types. And if you like the content, please be sure to subscribe or follow the podcast so the new episodes will automatically download for you. Also, you may want to check out my private Elements community, which is away from social media. It's a safe space for like-minded people to come together, to connect, to share, to support each other, and to continue the conversation from the podcast episodes. Check out the link in the show notes or visit my website, elementshealingandwellbeing.com, and just click on the community tab. And I hope to connect with you there. Thanks for listening. And now here's a new episode. This episode is sponsored by Kerala Ayurveda. If you're an Ayurvedic professional and want to improve your skills supporting clients in their journeys, check out Kerala Ayurveda's continuing ed programs. Topics include case discussions, formulation making, assessment and pulse diagnosis, Vedic formulations, and more. Study in person and via live streaming. Students from all schools are welcome. To learn more and save 10% on an upcoming program, visit keralaayurveda.us/courses and use the code ELEMENTS. And you'll find all that info in the show notes also. Hello and welcome back to the Elements of Ayurveda podcast. Today I have another lovely client to introduce you to, and this is the last in this series of client journeys that I've been sharing with you over the past few months. Again, people really enjoy these episodes, and today I'm very happy to introduce you to Monica. Hi, Monica.
Hello.
Monica, thank you for joining us today. I'm so happy to have you on here, and I'd love for you to introduce yourself to the listeners, please.
Sure. It's just very odd to be on the other side because I'm a very consistent listener of your podcast. So it's been really cool. So I'm Monica Toro. I am from the United States. I live in Delaware. And it's like one of the smallest states in the country on the East Coast. But I am a single mom of a 3-year-old, and I am a business owner. I'm a prenatal massage therapist and prenatal yoga teacher. And those two things are kind of the biggest projects that are taking up most of my time. And I love any type of body work. So when I do get some free time, I find a certain type of body work or massage or a different yoga class or meditation class. I also love salsa dancing, again, like a different type of body movement. But that's me. And I'm just, been so inspired by the Ayurvedic journey, the Ayurvedic philosophy on how to look at things. So yeah, that's who I am.
Lovely. Well, thank you for that. And I know you have a busy life, Monica, right? Your beautiful daughter, and then this business that you have, which is thriving, which is wonderful. And so how did you get introduced to Ayurveda? Was it through yoga?
Yeah, so I finished my yoga teacher training in 2016. I've been in the yoga world as a yoga practitioner for over 10 years, but
Mm,
in 2016, I got my yoga teacher training. And one of my favorite yoga teachers was completing the Ayurvedic counselor program at Kripalu at the time. And it was part of the YTT training for her to kind of introduce um, what Ayurveda is, which is the sister science of yoga. So it just
right.
makes sense. It wasn't part of the 200-hour training, but it was just kind of like, hey, this is a thing. If you want to do this down the road, you can go about that. And my teacher is just amazing. And so when she explained it, it was just like mind blowing. I was like, oh my gosh, like, and it just clicked, like it just made
Mm-hmm.
sense,
Right.
you know? And so that was a long time ago. And I kind of took it as, well, I'm doing like just the YTT introduction and getting into it. It's so much. It's just
Mm-hmm.
the peak of what you can get into. And Ayurveda was just way too much to even think about taking on. Um, but it kind of stood in the background. So
Right.
that was the first time I was introduced to it. And then I got more into it when I was a new mom. So I became a new mom right before the pandemic.
Mm,
Um, and and actually during my divorce was when I really started applying. Like I start as a new mom, I was listening to your podcast and like on my walks with my girl, and then
mm-hmm.
during the divorce was when I was really starting to implement things. I kind of had this new sense of freedom and I can do it wasn't a good situation and
Uh-huh.
it's like it was almost like my self-love journey
Great.
of starting to implement Ayurveda, which I think of Ayurveda as that self-love.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's my kind of the intro of the Ayurveda way for me.
I love that. The journey of self love and the journey to self realization. It's all about taking care
Hmm.
of yourself first so you can be there for others. And so we first
Hmm.
spoke, I think it was October 21. That's
Yeah,
when we got in touch
yeah,
and you started with a 90-minute consultation, right?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was like kind of applying what I was learning from your podcast, which served me well in that initial stage. And then I'm like, you know what? I really do want more guidance. I think now is a good time for me to kind of curtail the things I'm doing to specifically what is right for my dosha and my
Mm-hmm.
lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And at that stage, you were feeling a little overwhelmed with things. It was
Mm,
during the pandemic as well. And
yeah.
I know there was a lack of energy and so on. But what we
Hmm.
talked about in that, well, we had a good chat about what was going on in all aspects of your life and then put together a strategy for you with self-care,
Hmm.
mindfulness, and of course, food. And I talked
Yeah.
to you about your birth constitution and your current imbalance and of
Hmm.
course your birth constitution being Kapha Vata. It's always
Hmm.
interesting because it's very two opposing qualities for the most part.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, and I deal I deal with balancing those opposites like throughout my day.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just been yeah, and I think the first time that we talked, it was really nice again to get more specific guidance, but then really, and this has just been my general takeaway, is to just not force anything. Like
Mm-hmm.
it is a huge undertaking. The way of life is very different from what I grew up doing here in the natural, like American lifestyle.
Right.
It's just very different. And I lived abroad for a few years, so I've experienced other cultures, and it's just that the American way is just so overwhelming and like to the senses on all
Mm-hmm.
levels. And
Yeah.
so really like this transition of living in the US and living out the Ayurveda way, like at first, especially when I first had that consultation, it was like, oh well, I'll do what I can.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. And I'm not going to force anything. I'll try my best. And it was a little overwhelming. Like I was able to implement certain things into my daily habits. Um, it wasn't until the cleanse that I kind of got some clarity and some better strategies on how to live out the Ayurveda life in the United States. And I think like it is what it is. That's my journey. It's fine. And I'm just really grateful to have done the cleanse.
Right. Yeah. So you went forward with the cleanse then July of this year, 2022. And I think,
Yeah.
as you said, the cleanse, first of all, we're taking out everything and we're cleaning the
Yeah.
slate. And so you have a certain pattern during the cleanse of eating, self-care practices, mindfulness practices. And so we're experimenting, as I say, for this period of time. And you really
Mhm.
get to feel your body and mind in balance during that time. And we're taking out all the habits. So we're
Yeah.
breaking that cycle of habits during this period of time. Can you tell us a little bit more about your experience on the cleanse? Because I know
Yeah.
as well,
Well,
one of the things you were concerned about was coffee, right?
yeah, I know. Well, it just made me giggle when you said just now, like it's an experiment, and that stuck with me. That
Mm-hmm.
helped me commit. It's
Yes.
like because I do totally have an attachment to caffeine, especially as a kapha dominant person,
Mm-hmm.
and I think before the cleanse, the Vata was getting out of balance, and it was really, really I needed the no caffeine, and it was the first time I was committing to no caffeine, I think ever in my life. I don't do
Right.
diets. I
Right.
don't. That's not my life. I've never done them. So this was like, and I know this isn't a diet. It's just I don't limit myself to, and that's a very Kapha thing, like attached
Mm-hmm.
to food. And so it was a big undertaking. And you saying it was an experiment really helped me be like, okay, I can do anything for just this amount of time.
Right.
And you standing by my side really helped. I'm so grateful because that really helped with the accountability. But, yeah, so the coffee was kind of, and caffeine that was worrisome to me in a way, but and I've been wanting to do the cleanses that you would always talk about on the episodes, but I just finished breastfeeding.
That's
And
right.
so I can do a cleanse. So I've been wanting it for a while. And so that also kind of solidified, all right, I've been wanting this for a really long time. This is really truly something I want to try.
Yeah.
And
And I
it
remember you
was,
saying that
uh-huh.
it was like a great transition from like breastfeeding. It was your birthday present to yourself. So it was like very symbolic.
Yeah. So symbolic, and that's who I am. That's how I do things. I always put meaning behind things,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like this is and really starting to feel myself after the divorce.
Mm,
Also, it's like no, this is such a gift to myself to
absolutely.
really and reframing what is self love, like reframing, keep allowing myself to eat whatever I wanted was my previous way of like self-love and self-compassion. And you helped me do that as well. Like the reframing of, no, this is a different version of TLC.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need caffeine and sugar and stimulants because I have a lot of pressure to perform in my business,
Yes.
in being a mother,
Mm-hmm.
and so I had this idea that I needed these things in order to have the energy and um the appeal, in being a mom, like let's sing. I'll if I sing a song, she can do anything, and it's like I need energy in order to sing a song,
Right.
like
Right.
that type of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just that helped me to just kind of reframe what is self-care. And during the cleanse, I felt such a it was a paradigm shift. And I don't say that lightly. It was like, yeah, you say it's a cleaning of the slate and whatnot. And you can say these words all day long,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not until you actually experience it and feel it and it's in your cells and it's in your body, then it was like, oh, I didn't know I could feel this good. And I haven't had that thought since when I first started yoga. So it was like, it's like a second layer. It's like practicing yoga and living like, you know, the asana and meditation life, you know, that's a layer of, oh, these are skills on how to be calm, on how to be steady, you know, and then this Ayurveda life with the diet and the habits, the dinacharya and, you know, all of those things. It's like, oh, there's even like another layer. Like I didn't even know.
Yeah.
It was just really a paradigm shift. I'm like, wow. And that has stuck with me.
Taking a moment out here to talk about my upcoming Digestive Reset Cleanse. I have a discounted group cleanse starting September 2nd. And if you're listening to Monica's story here and saying, I want to feel that, I want to feel balanced and good in my body and mind, well, come join us. We're going to be an international group getting together on September 2nd to go through this cleanse. The cleanse is tailored to you and your lifestyle and the climate you're in, because the cleanse starts with a 90-minute one-to-one consultation with me. And that's where I learn about you, your current health status, your lifestyle, and I put together the cleanse for you. And it's a holistic cleanse, tailoring it to your health needs and your lifestyle. And then we go through the cleanse as a group. Everything's recorded, pre-recorded, and there's a forum where the community gets together. There's no other live components to the cleanse besides from the 90-minute consultation. But we get together in the private forum. We hold each other accountable. We will support each other over there. And it's a great way to work with this shift in the seasons that's about to happen, where we're going from one season to the next. That's where there can be a lot of seasonal sickness. It can compromise our immune system, and it can really upset our digestive system. So Ayurveda recommends cleansing at the joint of seasons so that we can transition into the new season feeling light and clear and energetic, because not only are we eliminating toxins, but we're balancing the doshas. And so entering the new season, not carrying any excess toxins or accumulated doshas with us that could cause problems in the coming season. So if you're interested in joining us on September 2nd, it's coming up quick, please click on the link in the show notes or visit my website, elementshealingandwellbeing.com. The first week of the cleanse is just preparation, so you still have time to do your consultation in the first week, and then you're buying your ingredients for the week 2, for the actual cleanse week. If that date doesn't work for you, just know I do private cleanses, one-on-one, and that's where you get to choose your own dates. Same cleanse, same structure, but you just get to choose your own dates that fit into your lifestyle. And I'll put that link in the show notes also. Okay, let's get back to my conversation with Monica.
I'm now, again, drinking coffee, not as much. It really, not as much at all. Like, it seems like my attachment is less strong, which is really, I'm really grateful for. And I think that just reinforces the message that you always send on your podcast of like, you know, little by little, this is a long haul. Like we're in it for a long haul type of thing, you know.
It's lifestyle shifts, and it's not about being perfect. It's about flowing with the journey you're on day to day, and every day might bring its challenges and you flow with it. So it's, I'm always, you know, making sure people are not being rigid or too disciplined, because it's that we can't support and won't have longevity or sustainability.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. And you were tested during your cleanse because it was also your daughter's birthday, right?
There were so many parties. Yeah. There were 3 things. I had 2 parties. My daughter's birthday party. It was my friend's farewell party. She was moving out to LA, and then I was preparing for vacation. And the
amusement park.
A lot of stress. Yes, at an amusement park. Oh my gosh, I forgot about the amusement park, which is like, I was just surrounded by anything and everything that stimulates you. Like alcohol, caffeine, sugar, like the amusement park environment of like rides and screaming and, you know, like
sensory overload. I remember getting
my
an email
gosh.
from you going, I am so proud of myself. I was saying no was very liberating to all those temptations. And then we just worked on really grounding the Vata after that overstimulation.
Yes, yes. And honestly, like after, like it was the first time that I went to an amusement park and I didn't have any sugar, any caffeine, or any like fatty foods. Like
Uh-huh.
and I was able to enjoy.
Mm.
I really feel like I enjoyed the amusement park. It was like, it was bizarre.
Right, right.
Because before, like, if I did indulge, there would be this like sluggish, like feeling,
Mm-hmm.
that feeling of just I'm so ungrounded. I don't feel really good right
Exactly.
now. Um, so
So yeah,
anyway,
you
yeah,
were probably more in the moment because you were more grounded.
yes,
Yeah, your coffin was more grounded in that way. But yeah, but
hmm
you hung in there, given, and like you said, you were preparing for vacation. So we only had a certain amount of time, you know, a certain window
hmm
of time, as it were, because you have a busy life. So we said we'd flow with those events, and you did very well
hmm
throughout the whole cleanse, and we were in touch constantly,
yeah,
and you know, making sure I was there to answer any questions you had or concerns you had along the way. And I wanted to make
hmm
sure that you felt supported because, you know, you're out there supporting everyone else, supporting your young daughter, supporting people in your work. So I wanted to make sure that I was available and supporting you. And you did a great job. You really were disciplined and focused, on your self-care and the cleanse, which was wonderful.
yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah, the I really enjoyed just how you created the cleanse, like how it is 20, I think 22 days long or 21 days long. I
21. Yeah.
forget.
21. Yep.
21. Yeah, I mean, mine was shortened just a little bit because of my vacation, but ultimately it was like long enough for me to like, yeah, I have gone back to other habits, but again, like that's not what it's about. It's about
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, I lived that for a while and I really
Mm-hmm.
liked it. And you
Right.
know, when I'm ready, I'll implement more of those things. And some of those
Exactly.
things I still do, you know, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
now I've lived it and I know it's there and I
Mm-hmm.
can go back to that. And so, and
Exactly.
having it that long, yeah, having it that
Yes.
long was really, really nice.
Uh-huh. And that's my big thing with with cleansing is you get to feel like I can talk on the podcast till I'm blue in the face, but until you feel this viscerally in your body, you can feel the shifts in your physical, mental, emotional self. That's when it
Mm-hmm.
really, you know, you're feeling it. And that's is a real catalyst to go, okay, I'm ready to make some shifts. And it's going to, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it may be gradual over time and that's absolutely fine. But that's when that aha moments come, when you're really feeling that balance and that groundedness and that clarity that comes with
Mm-hmm.
cleansing. And that's where you're, you know, where you're like, okay, this is the space I want to occupy. And now what shifts do
Mm-hmm.
I need to make in order to get there? And I know during the cleanse, you talked about big emotional breakthroughs as well. You don't have to go into detail about those, but you felt a big
Mm-hmm.
emotional shift, correct, during the cleanse?
Yeah, yeah. And what was really helpful was that I journaled it. And also your
Mm.
chakra meditation really helped me
Oh,
break
great.
through some things. Um yeah, like the doing the chakra meditation with the mantras really
Mm-hmm.
helped move things up and out, right? And
Right.
then the journaling was another layer of up and out, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so it was like a purging and um I felt like, so you know, I don't know if other people have this, but I have this of like I have this idea of like my higher self. You know, we in yoga world it's kind of sometimes it's like, okay, call on your higher self if you
Mm-hmm.
don't have this, you know, idea of God or whatever. And it was like during my cleanse that I remember journaling and I realized and I wrote it in my journal like I feel like I am my highest self right now. Like
Wow.
it was just one of those moments of like this is so fulfilling right
Mm.
now. I'm so
Wow.
and it is like I'm so proud of myself that
Excellent.
that I am able to be here. And it's not meant to just be there all the time. It's like, but having touched that, really did, it's an example of me letting go of emotions, because I feel like I
Right.
couldn't have gotten there,
Exactly.
especially after all I was going through with my, divorce and
Hmm.
everything else that was going on.
COVID, there was a lot.
Oh my gosh, so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
We as like a society, as a world, just have been through so much. And
Hmm.
so, it was a letting go and a rising of spirit and realization and,
Wow.
all of that. Yeah.
Love it, Monica. That's amazing. And it's just testament to the effort that you put in during this time. And I know you had a lot going on. And you obviously are a single parent of a young child. So you have a busy life and your own business. So I'm just so proud of you, and the
Mhm.
results are testament to the effort you put in. And just to tell people that the chakra mantra meditation, I believe in a real holistic cleanse. So this is a meditation where you go through the chakras, bringing energy and doing a bija mantra. So sending energy to the chakras, and sometimes some emotions can come up as you go through the chakras, but it is elevating that energy from the root chakra up. But I'm so
Mhm.
grateful, and I'm so happy to hear that that had a positive effect for you, and that you felt not only the physical cleanse, but also the emotional and spiritual cleanse as well, which is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. And
Fantastic, Monica.
it was just very apparent that, like, during like the diet cleanse part,
Hmm.
um, you told me not to do my training, my physical
Yeah.
training. But and so I did feel weaker during that
Yeah.
that moment, but at the same time, like, I felt so much more energized. Like, I didn't have a dip of energy at all during the day. So it was just very cool to feel the two. That was very different. It was opposite. Usually I feel very strong in my day. And then, but I would have these like energetic dips and rises.
Hmm.
And it was flipped. It was like, I was a little bit weak just because I wasn't, eating. I was eating regularly, of course, but like, I felt strong energy wise. Yeah, it was
Right,
just
right.
very cool.
Sustained. Yes, no, that makes sense. You had sustained energy throughout the day because you're eating lots of, good fats, and you've regular time meals. But
Hmm.
you didn't have any of the stimulants, right? You didn't have any of the caffeine or the sugar to give you those spurts of energy. And you do feel that weakness during cleanse week. And that's why I ask people not to work out during that week. It's just yoga and walking and very gentle, practices, because your body is using so much energy to actually
Hmm.
cleanse. So using all your energy to
Hmm.
pull out those fat soluble toxins. So I'm glad you
Yeah,
didn't partake in the physical activity, and you stuck with the yoga, which is best. So that's great.
yeah,
But yeah, you had that awareness that, oh, I still feel this sustained energy from this regular eating pattern of good fats and regular whole foods can give me that sustained energy rather than the spikes I get with caffeine or sugar and so on.
right. Yeah, it was great.
Great. Oh, Monica. Well, well done you. And as we finish up here, Monica, is there anything else you want to share, or any tips or advice you have for people?
Um, One thing, besides like taking it slow, like you can't, I feel like Ayurveda is self-love and you can't force love, like it's
Mm-hmm.
just a natural progression. But that was kind of already a thing I touched on. I guess the one thing that really worked for me as I was reintegrating back into post cleanse
Mm-hmm.
was, at first I was like, oh, this Ayurveda life is so different, and it is, but the more and I'm a very social person. I love going out to dinner with my friends and all of that, and family. And I think the one thing that really helped me and I realized was, I actually like, I eat breakfast by myself. I eat lunch by myself most of the time. Like, if I just kind of put in my mind, one meal a day to go back to, or live in that modern American culture of being, so I can still like commune with my friends and family and culture,
Mm-hmm.
that is a really nice balance that I found.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
Yeah.
yes, and again, not to be too strict, not to be too disciplined. You can always find options when you're eating out. ideally that they're cooked options, and that, they have some good fats there, and that it's obviously ideal for your constitution. But you can always find options if you are eating out or eating at a friend's house. And it's more important to have the joy of living and the joy of food in a good social environment. That's very important for our health too. It's not good to be hiding ourselves away or restricting ourselves or missing out on these great social events because we're trying to be too disciplined.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's great. So can you tell actually people, where's your business? Tell people about your business in case they're in the Delaware area.
Oh, yeah. So my business, Newark, Delaware, it's in the town of University of Delaware. And I do prenatal postpartum massage, which is just a huge need. And I feel like I have cushions that allow mamas and parents to lay on their bellies. First trimester, you can start. There's this myth. There's so many myths and fears around pregnancy, which is just bizarre to me. Yeah. It's like now is the time that you really need to nourish yourself and your body for both you and baby. And, in the postpartum, they bring their babies with them to the massage session.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Because I don't want moms to feel like they have to choose between baby or themselves, because they will always choose baby.
Yes, exactly.
And so, yeah.
Do you have a website?
It's www.newarkprenatalmassageandyoga.com. So you spell out "and." So it's long, but it's simple.
I will put that link in the show notes if people are in the area and they want to connect with you. But I agree. I think we can do so much better around preconception, prenatal, pregnancy health, and particularly postpartum. We often, find mothers are just handed the baby and be like, okay, now get on with it. And it's unreal. As Ayurveda does a lot of work on great postpartum care and yoga as well. Yeah. And it's so essential to have that framework set up.
Absolutely. And, I've thought about, possibly catering more towards Ayurvedic services in relation to the perinatal stage. That may be further down the road what I might do.
Amazing.
But I'm definitely going to be starting hypnotherapy training, not specifically for prenatal and postpartum, but just in general. And that would be a virtual service that you don't have to be in the area for that. So,
great.
And I'm sure, Colette, owning your own business, you're always growing and adding things. And it's just so much fun. I love owning my own business, and I love my clients and what I do. So,
well, you're excellent at it, and your love for your passion for it, I'm sure, flows through, and that energy flows through. And the fact that you're keeping yourself, your mind, body in a great balanced way, again, is an investment for your business as well as for yourself, right?
Oh,
because
absolutely.
The energy you bring into your business and your practices.
Oh yeah, I take laying of the hands very seriously, and it's an energy exchange, and really it is, all what I do in my personal life is for my daughter, my clients, my business, and the people who I come across, like it's that interconnectedness of yoga. Yeah.
So investing in yourself is investing in everyone else around you. And that's should be a priority for all of us.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, Monica, it has been a pleasure working with you. And again, you should be so proud of yourself. And I love to see that, those thoughts of, okay, in the future, where I'm going to branch out to. But it's wonderful to hear that you're thriving, your daughter's thriving. You're such a good role model for your daughter, and that your business is thriving too. So well done, you. And thank you again for taking the time to share with us today. I truly appreciate it.
Of course. And thank you, Colette, for your efforts, because if it wasn't for the podcast and just how easy it is to bit by bit navigate, and learn through you, and your interviewing is amazing. And like all of that, it's just I'm so glad I found you, and I appreciate you walking by my side and helping me through this next kind of journey in the yoga life. So
well, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I look forward to seeing where it leads you, because you're doing great things already.
Thank you.
All right, my dear, for now, take good care of yourself, and I wish you all the best, and reach out along your journey if you have any questions at all. The door is always open.
Yes. Thank you, Colette.
All right. Bye for now. Take care of yourself.
Bye-bye.
I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Monica, and thanks again to Monica for coming on the episode today and being so open about her journey. I think people always find connection and inspiration from hearing other people's journeys. So thank you, Monica. Please check out the show notes for all the links mentioned in this episode. And again, I have that upcoming discounted group cleanse starting September 2nd. So if you're interested in joining us, come along, register today by clicking on the link in the show notes, or visit my website, elementshealingandwellbeing.com. If you're enjoying the information in this podcast and you want to share it with others, please share it by sharing an episode with your family or friends, or you could also rate and review the episode. If you haven't already subscribed or followed the podcast, please do so, and the new episodes will automatically download for you. And you can also find me on social media, on Instagram and Facebook under Elements Healing and Wellbeing. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you taking the time to listen to the episodes, and I hope you're finding them helpful. And until next time, take good care of yourself, be well, and bye for now. Slán go fóill.